Even Cory Booker, with his bizarre rants and his Spartacus moments and his tears of anger and wrath, even Joe Biden, with his completely nonsensical stammerings and his brain made of pudding, neither of them are my least favorite Democrats running the country right now. My actual least favorite, and this has been true for 2 years, this has been true going back to the Democrat primaries, my least favorite one is Pete Buttigieg. And I feel vindicated in my distaste for Pete Buttigieg because Buttigieg just went on with the cackling hens on The View, and he was asked what he thinks about the Florida law, parental rights in education, the law which says that kindergarten teachers can't trans the 5-year-olds. And Pete Buttigieg said that he believes that the law will kill children.
He's been a vocal critic of what's going on in my state of Florida with the so-called Don't Say Gay law now, which he says will kill kids. Do you agree? And, you know, as a politician, because this strikes you as, you know, your husband is a teacher.
Yeah.
You are obviously LGBTQ yourself, and you are now a parent.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about this?
He's right. And I think every law ought to be judged for the effect it's going to have on real people in real life. And I get the political reasons why they're doing this. By the way, some of those political reasons is they don't have a plan on anything else, right? I mean, they don't have a plan on dealing with inflation or dealing with gas prices or dealing with the issues of the day.
We can't get home insurance in Florida.
Hold on. I'll get to the main point that Pete Buttigieg is making, which is extremely stupid. But first, I've got to get to the second point. He says, the reason they're preventing us from lopping off the genitals of 5-year-olds is because they don't have a plan on gas. They don't have a plan on inflation and the economy. All of that was going great when we were running the show, dum-dum. And then you guys got in charge, and all of a sudden inflation goes through the roof and hits a 40-year high, and gas prices also hit all-time record highs. And we know exactly why that happened, by the way. That happened because you shut down oil pipelines, you shut down oil production in America, then you gave Vladimir Putin a pipeline, you okayed the pipeline that we Republicans had shut down, the pipeline which Zelensky says was the cause of the war. That was the immediate cause of the Russian invasion because Biden lifted the sanctions off the oil pipeline, and now you've got a major war in Ukraine, which is very important not only to Europe, but to energy production around the world, and now gas prices are through the roof. So, and now you have the audacity to look at us and say you don't have a plan. Here's my plan. Don't give Putin a pipeline. Give Americans a pipeline. Stop printing money like drunken sailors and just do what we were doing under Trump when everything was working. That's the first part. I guess that's the second stupid thing that Buttigieg said. But then to his main point. He says that the law in Florida, which prevents you from introducing 5-year-olds to transgenderism in public school classrooms, the law in Florida, which stops teachers from encouraging 5-year-old kids to take cross-sex hormones and lop off their genitals, he says that law is going to kill kids. Pete Buttigieg, who supports abortion. So abortion, which literally kills kids, that does not kill kids, according to Pete Buttigieg. Letting 5-year-olds keep their genitals and not encouraging them to take cross-sex hormones, that will kill kids. I didn't think I could like Pete Buttigieg less than I already did, but I do. Frankly, I liked him better when he was on maternity leave. Do you remember Buttigieg becomes the transportation secretary? We've got a major supply chain crisis, and everyone started criticizing Buttigieg because he was nowhere to be found, because he was on maternity leave. Pete Buttigieg was out, I guess, recovering from his C-section. Maybe he was chest feeding. I'm not sure exactly what he was doing. But Buttigieg was out for months, not doing his job as a cabinet secretary. And I actually liked him better then, because then he wasn't running his mouth. He was just living life as a private citizen, which is where he should be. Now he's coming out and saying we need to trans the kids. And he does it in this way to make it sound like we're the unreasonable ones. The vast majority of Americans who support the Florida law, we're the unreasonable. You know, these guys, it's just for political reasons. And look, I get it. I get their political reasons, but we have to trans the kids or that will kill them. And this is what they say, by the way. This is, how desperate the Democrats are on this. They've got no argument whatsoever for transing the kids because it's just an absolute it's the most outrageous thing they've done since they legalized the national killing of little babies in the womb. But they've got no answer here, so they say, well, if you don't let us trans the kids, they're going to kill themselves. This is what abusive girlfriends and boyfriends do. If you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. If you do anything, I'm going to kill. It's the exact same tactic. If you don't let us trans the kids, they're going to kill themselves. That's not true. First of all, there's no evidence. There's no social scientific evidence for the claims that they're making, that if we don't put kids, if we don't allow people to chop off parts of their bodies and mutilate themselves, that they're going to kill themselves. The rates of suicide, depression, anxiety, and all the rest of it in post-op and pre-op transgender people, that is, people who are suffering sexual confusion, are almost exactly the same. I don't really buy statistics generally. I don't really buy social science, but I'm more than happy to quote it when it backs up my view, and that's what's going on here. So even if their premise were right, that if rates of anxiety and depression and suicide went down after mutilating your body, that therefore we should do it. Even if that were right, it's not true in reality. But furthermore, what Buttigieg is showing here is an important issue that we've got to confront on transgenderism, which is we can't split the baby on it. It's got to be all or nothing. Either transgenderism's real and we've got to endorse the surgeries, or it's false. And it's not real, and a man can't secretly be a woman, and our souls actually do have something to do with our bodies. And that's it. Because if transgenderism is real, and if the surgeries can better help you to deal with your gender dysphoria, then for sure we should do it in kids, right? If the idea is that puberty is the real cause of this discomfort, or it greatly accelerates the sexual discomfort people have because one is really a woman, but then he takes on all of these much more masculine secondary sex characteristics, then of course you should put the kid on puberty blockers. If the kid is really a woman, and by some quirk of biology he becomes much more of a man, then of course you should stop that. So there's a kind of inner logic to the left's view on transgenderism. The problem is that the premise is false, because a man can't secretly be a woman. So you got to reject the whole thing, okay? And the squishes need to stop trying to find some conciliatory middle ground. There's no middle ground. And the libs obviously aren't going to stop. They are now presenting transing the kids as though it were the most common sense, ordinary thing. And if you oppose transing the kids, that you are some sort of horrible bigot or some cynic political operative, rather than what you actually are, which is a person with at least a tenuous, slight grasp on reality, unlike Pete Buttigieg, unlike the entire left. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop with consenting adults can do whatever they want. An adult can chop off his body parts if he wants. They're not going to stop. It's going to go all the way down to little kids and little toddlers and little babies. They're already doing that. Stand up now. People say, well, are you going to die on this hill? I don't intend to die on any hill, but if you don't stand up on a hill and fight, you're going to just completely concede the whole battle. I'm glad you liked that clip. Now, ring the bell, subscribe, make sure you get the notifications. Also, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe to The Michael Knowles Show. Leave a 5-star review. We'll see you next time.